Hello, welcome to this Long Island weather video, and another 2 days of absolute crap. Today actually wound up being worse than yesterday. Yesterday was a little bit of brightening. We were socked in today. You can see the satellite here. Having an issue with the satellite again, but we were really socked in, today. And there was a lot of sucky drizzle around too as well, unfortunately. And it's ridiculous. And you can see what we've got here, stall front, but things are going to finally start moving along, and we're going to go from this to a pattern change. It looks like there may be some big wildfires in the southwest as well. We'll have to talk about wildfire smoke. So let's go to we'll go to the southwest, and we'll see. It looks like there's some wildfires out there. That's Pacific Southwest. They don't really have, or they have Southern Rockies. Maybe that'll work. Yeah, it looks like we got a big wildfire in, let's see, this is Arizona. It looks like this is New Mexico. We got a couple of big wildfires, and one now in Utah, north of Arizona. So, yeah, they may be starting to deal because it's been hot and very dry over there. So you can see all these red flag warnings and heat. This is what we're going to be in store for, the heat, but it won't be a dry heat. It's going to be a humid heat. And just dealing with today, we had a lot of mist and drizzle around for much of the day. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a break from it for at least like maybe 3 to 5 hours. But today, it was really on and off all day long. You can see the air is saturated at Islip, temperature 64, dew point 64, 100% humidity at Islip, and they're probably dealing with some fog as a result of that. Yeah, look at the visibility. Wow, 0.13. Wow, so they're dealing with some pretty dense fog out east. You can see when it wouldn't have fog, it had drizzle, mist, just this lousy suck fest. But this is the last day of it, luckily. Here in Nassau, we don't have the dense fog, at least not here in Mineola, but it looks like Farmingdale has half a mile visibility. So it's worst out east because we have very humid air moving in, and we have cooler than the ocean temperatures are cooler than the air. If we look at the ocean temperatures here, let's see, water temperature is, let's see, they don't have it here. That's nice. No water temperature observation. Oh, there it is. 62 is the water temperature, which is above normal, by the way. But still, that is lower than the dew point. The dew points are higher than that, so you're getting the fog. And that's why we've got these dense fog advisories now in effect. And we're going to be dealing with that. And you can see heat advisories around Philadelphia, a sign of the heat that will be coming. We'll get a little taste of it on Thursday. Yeah, pretty crappy. And for all the crap, all the dampness in the sky, this is all the rain we've gotten. Barely anything. It's just been this sucky drizzle, light rain. It's just a nuisance, and it doesn't really accomplish anything. It doesn't even help you with rainfall amounts at all. So it really does. It really sucks, basically. It really does suck. Just miserable. It doesn't accomplish anything. There's your dense fog advisory there. And you can see here on the radar, there are a couple of showers and heavier rain. We might wind up getting into this for part of tomorrow, the early part of tomorrow. And this is all from this front that is, this is a warm front that's going to be moving through. And then we're going to get into the warm sector on Thursday. And then the cold front will come through later Thursday afternoon and the evening. That could be our next threat for thunderstorms, possibly severe with that. But you can see things are moving. And the warm front hasn't even moved through yet. But we're already dealing with very high humidity out there. If you walk around out there, there ain't a breath of air. And I walked, and I got pretty hot from it. So yeah, not very nice out. Even when it wasn't drizzling, it was just absolute misery with this weather that we're having. Just awful. Yeah, it's ridiculous, really is. We'll go over the statistics for Islip for the past couple of days. And high of 68, a low of 64. The high is 10 degrees below normal. That puts us 4 degrees below normal for the day. Not a big difference between the high and the low, which kind of tells you just how damp it was. Yesterday was actually a little warmer. We got up to 70 with a low of 60, so a 10-degree temperature spread. Still 8 degrees below normal for the high, but we did have some brightening yesterday. There was some drier air that tried to move through in the afternoon and early evening hours, and then the crap came right back on us. So, if you were in New England, you didn't have to deal with this either. If you were in, let's say, Maine, look at Augusta, Maine, for instance. They haven't had to deal with this crud at all. They've had some clouds around, but it's been dry. Dew points in the 50s, highs in the low 70s. Fairly comfortable. There was some sunshine at times. Got to go back to the 16th, which is yesterday, but they actually had a mostly sunny day there yesterday. A few clouds here and there, maybe a little bit of smoke haze, but Maine was also another place. I know I brought up Flagstaff, but Maine is another place that you could have avoided all this crap. Probably makes a little more sense to go there versus Flagstaff. At least it's cooler than there are pitch pines in Maine. That's another place you could have gone if you could have gotten away. You could see all these flood advisories, flood watches. We've got looks like some flood watches in here. So let's see. Is that a severe? That looks like a flash flood warning. That's over there under that flood watch, which wouldn't surprise me. And then we've got all this stuff out west, and just to show you the kind of heat, this ridge is going to be shifting east, so the kind of heat they're going to be dealing with. It obviously won't be a dry heat, but Flagstaff's 82. They got up to 88. It's been pretty hot there, even in Flagstaff, where I know it's a dry heat, but still pretty hot. I know the other day I did a video saying it was nice and I didn't realize it hit 90 that day. But, it hit 90 that day. But it's a dry heat, and then it cools off at night. That's the good thing about the dry heat. But because these humidity levels are so low, we're talking 4%. Not only will make you really thirsty, and I've never experienced that kind of dry heat before, but it is leading to these wildfire risks. And also it looks like we've got an extreme heat warning for parts of the areas north and west of that area. So this is the kind of heat that we're going to start getting into next week, but it's not going to be a dry heat. I'm just talking about that ridge just shifting into our area, and it's going to be the kind of heat that we're going to be dealing with. They've also been dealing with a lot of heat in Alaska, which I brought up, and is still dealing with it. Looks like, wow, is that an excessive red flag warning? Red flag warning for there. So there could be wildfires up here, perhaps in these areas here. It wouldn't surprise me. It got into the mid-80s in a lot of these areas here. 90 actually at Round Lake. So and it's a dry heat again, very dry heat. Dew points in the upper 40s. So very unusual to see this kind of warmth in Alaska for sure. And I'm sure they might be actually breaking records over there. I'd love to go to the let's go to the Fairbanks, Alaska office, Fairbanks, and where we'll go over this, because again, this is the kind of heat that we're going to have going to our area. It's windy too, east of 21, gusting to 25. So that's not good at all. So they're going to have a lot of heat, and I wonder if they've had any records broken in that area. I don't know if they've got I'm sure that they have. I'm sure they have had records broken, but they're not really going to. They don't really have a thing about records being broken here. Maybe we can go to their X and see if maybe they have something about records there. Let's see. Marginal risk of severe thunderstorms for that area. Look at all these lightning strikes. That is not good. There are going to be a lot of wildfires in Alaska. Flood warnings. And there was also first ever Juneau, the Juneau Weather Service actually issued a first ever severe thunderstorm warning for Alaska. So that's the kind of heat that's going on over in Alaska. But this all, again, is shifting into our area starting next week. And I'll just talk about it for a little bit. The next thing that we have to worry about, obviously, the more immediate concern, is the thunderstorm threat. We're going to go look at the day 2 convective outlook first. And there's a marginal risk to our south tomorrow with the warm front. The most of the risk is in the Mississippi River Valley. But as we go to day 3 with the cold front, level 2, slight risk for, it looks like, part of Nassau County, the city, all of New Jersey, goes right up down the Hudson Valley through the Mid-Atlantic, and then Suffolk County would have a marginal risk. So that is our next threat for severe weather that we're going to have to be concerned about. And we're going to look and see how this is all going to play out at least we'll see what the models think as far as how it's going to play out. But it could get a little interesting over here. All right. So again, you can see that big heat ridge in the southwest. It will wind up cooling down. You know what I'm kind of curious about with all that heat in Alaska? Let's just go. I know that they're having some problems with the satellite, but let's just see if they've got a lot of wildfires going there right now. Not yet, but this could be an issue. This could be our next source of wildfire smoke. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But anyway, let's go and talk about the weather we're going to be dealing with for the rest of this week. You can see here as we go into tomorrow, we finally see that warm front trying to push through. That's where we could get some showers and thunderstorms. Might not push through until later in the evening. That's your first batch right there, and I know this is kind of zoomed out. And then we get into the warm sector. There's your high, your return flow up from the south. It's going to be very humid air. It's going to be coming up very humid air. And then the cold front comes through Thursday night, and then we get a little reprieve from the humidity, but it'll be very brief reprieve. Not a really strong cold front, not a really strong high. And then we'll start setting up that ridge over the weekend, and then as we get into next week, there's going to be a big ridge in the east that's going to bring a lot of heat, and I mean some pretty warm conditions here. And it's going to be our first heat wave of the year, and it could be quite a significant one. Summer does start, the astronomical summer does start on Friday, so we will see that. Set a fan on. I had to turn it off. Just trying to cool it off in here. It's hot in here. Very hot in here. So, well, it's not hot now, but when I walked in, it was. I gotta have a bunch of fans going in the air conditioner. So anyway, I am dreading how bad it's going to be as we get into next week. So we'll give you a sneak peek at that. But let's first take a look at our shorter range here. We don't really have the full 0Z runs in yet of the HRRR, which kind of suck. Unfortunately, I'd have to go to the 18Z. I don't know. It's a little slow tonight. Normally I would have it by now. Let's see. We'll have to use the 0Z run. It doesn't. It's not really going to show the cold front. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll have a better idea of how that cold front pans out. But tomorrow, you see, we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms in the morning. Then there's a break, and then here comes another round, and some of the stronger and more severe stuff off to the south. That's probably where they have the marginal risk. You can see over there because it will be warmer over there. And you can see there, we're looking at that model there, that it does have some thunderstorms there. And then the activity, you can see what we have setting up for Thursday. All right. We'll visualize the warm front here by looking at the dew points. And you'll see here we got the south flow setting up tonight. And tomorrow, yeah, you can see the warm front actually looks like it might actually come through during the day tomorrow, perhaps, or in the you can see the dew points rise to the 70-degree mark, which is very high for June. And then as we go into Thursday, we got that southwest wind pumping up the heat and the humidity, and dew points will be above 70, and that will be combined with the heat, so it will feel very uncomfortable, especially inland. Tonight, obviously, temperatures aren't going to drop much. Tomorrow, you could see that inland, especially if you're in Jersey, you could go up near 90 degrees perhaps, and that's why the risk is there. There's more energy in the atmosphere. Could be some breaks. Less likely on Long Island. We may have to deal with some more of this crap again with the drizzle and the fog and the crap, but maybe I'm hoping that it gets pushed out eventually during the day tomorrow. You can actually see the signature of the cold front over here. It almost looks like a dry line here popping up on the HRRR. Kind of dissipates, though. And then as we head into Thursday, here are your temperatures. It's definitely going to be in the 90s inland, probably 90 to 95, and then probably around the low 90s perhaps in Nassau County. South Shore, there will probably be a sea breeze. Probably be able to avoid the 90s. Suffolk, I still think you could get close with upper 80s. Perhaps this is, again, as far as we've got on the HRRR model here as far as Thursday goes. We'll look at a couple of other models. Oh, actually, I want to look at the Cape thing we're going to look at here, and you'll see what I mean with tomorrow. Excellent Cape over New Jersey, and this is why they got the marginal risk. But for us, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen. all the action is going to be in Jersey. And then as we get into Thursday, there is decent cape over our area. So this is why we've got that. Thursday is a better bet for severe weather, more widespread severe weather in our area. That's some pretty impressive cape. Unfortunately, like I said, this is only going out 42 hours. I'm missing 43, 44. I'm missing about a couple of hours. It still wouldn't take us through the whole night, though, anyway. So that's very impressive. We'll go to the NAM next. The NAM does go further out. We have the 18Z NAM, and we're going to look at the cape first on the NAM. You can see just off the wall off to the west tomorrow, but nothing much over our area. And then Thursday, very impressive cape. Best, again, off to the west, but there still could be decent thunderstorm activity. Let's look at the radar simulation on those. But here's again tomorrow. You can see nothing too impressive for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, though, things could be impressive. So we'll have to see. It could even be some. The NAM's even suggesting some of that activity makes it over to our area. But Thursday, this is what gets interesting. Now, it doesn't really want to form a line over us, which is weird. Because the front, I'm thinking, well, let's look at the dew points here. The front is kind of diffuse. But I still think with cape values like that, and you can see the drier air coming in as you get, I still think there's a good bet of seeing some severe thunderstorm activity. I think the models will get. Well, I'll look at the European next, I guess, see what that has. So this is the European here. You can see those dew points again, very high. And then you can see this front coming through. It's kind of diffuse, and it doesn't really, the dew points don't drop all that low. The Euro's really kind of backed off on having dew points going to the 50s. Now we may only see dew points in the 60s, which ain't going to be that dry for Friday. And then those dew points start going right back up as you get into Saturday. And then you start seeing what sets up for next week. And like I said, we'll give you a sneak peek of that a little bit later. Let's see what the European has with this line. All right. Yeah, none of them look really that impressive, but I think these models might be missing out on something. So there's still a chance. There's still a chance that we could see some action. I'm hoping we do, because we've hardly had any good thunderstorms lately. Looks like really good action off to the west, of course. That could be a nice little squall line, maybe even a derecho. You never know. Kind of hard to say at this point what's going to happen with that. But we'll have to see now. As far as rainfall totals go to the NAM 18Z, and we'll look at the amount of rainfall that will fall from these. And again, locally, there could be some heavy rain, over an inch, perhaps locally, but the areas that don't get hit won't really see much rain at all. So that's what it's pretty much looking like right now. Let's look at the... All right, so kind of done with that. Let's go back to the RGM here, and we'll look at the skies and show you when we're going to see the sun again. So obviously, we didn't see it today. And tomorrow, there may be a chance we might see a little bit of it, more likely if you're inland, of course, but then you're going to be hot. But you may get some hazy sunshine, perhaps, if you're in Jersey or maybe even on the North Shore. And then Thursday, we will have sunshine to start. And then there'll be probably increasing clouds as that front gets closer. But there will be sunshine on Thursday. It's going to be hot, though. And then the front comes through. And then as we go into Friday, we should have a mostly sunny day, hopefully. Friday is going to be your nicest day of the week, I think, right now, as to what I'm seeing. GFS, this is the GFS for Friday, also showing nice day. But then as you go into Saturday, you'll start seeing that serious spill in, and then you'll have to deal with, again, this is kind of where you can see that very strong ridge that's over us on the GFS, by the way. So, all right, sneak peek for the heat. Let's take a look at it. And I'll first start with the GFS, the sneak peek for the heat. So you'll see the kind of heat, and then you can see the dew points are going to be up there as well for next week. All right. We'll first start with the GFS. Just give you a sneak peek of the heat here as we get past the weekend. Saturday is going to be warm, 80s, but the heat really starts building as you get into Monday. You can see 90s inland. GFS seems to show a strong sea breeze. However, this is the GFS. There's a reason why I don't look at it. Let's look at the European, because I think that's going to be a little more accurate as to how bad this heat is going to be. So you can see Sunday already inland you're dealing with 90. And then here we go next week. That bright white, that could be close to, there's 100 degrees painted right there. And 103 over Tom's River on Monday. So, and then Tuesday's even hotter. We could break 100 degrees. And again, only relief Suffolk County right at the shore. And then look at Wednesday, another day, perhaps getting close to 100 degrees inland. So it's going to be hot and it's going to be very humid. Finally doesn't back off until so next week. We haven't really seen, the model's been very consistent on this heat wave. And it's going to be humid too. Though it does show some lower dew point, pockets of lower dew points now on the European, which is a little encouraging, I guess. I mean, if you have that kind of heat, at least it looks like the dew points have come down a little bit for what they were showing earlier. That's still very hot, but it's trying to mix in some drier air, perhaps, in there. Could there be a thunderstorm in there, perhaps, that would do that? I don't know. It's a very strong ridge, so I don't think so. There's your sneak peek at what we're going to be dealing with next week. 100 degrees. It's been a while. I think we're going to do it at this point. The Euro has been very, very, very consistent on this as well. So now we'll get that out of the way. Last thing we're going to look at is the smoke, and we'll go ahead and look at that, and maybe one more thing. But we'll first look at the smoke. We aren't seeing a lot of smoke right now. Not as much as before. You can see the smoke breaking out over the west now. So those nice blue skies in Flagstaff, well, they're going to be getting hazy. And then as far as our area goes, not really showing as much smoke. So it looks like there's a bit of a reprieve from it. So at least if we can get some blue skies, even if it's hot, I'll be happy at this point. That would be really nice. All right, Ventus Sky. The reason why I'm going to Ventus Sky is we're going to look at Cape on this as well. Let's go to tomorrow. And you can see that Cape mostly over New Jersey. You can see that's where it is. Really impressive in New Jersey. 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock. You can see real bit Long Island. We got the south flow over the cooler ocean water, and that's going to keep things cooler if you're on Long Island. You can see temperatures here only be around in the low 70s, whereas if you're in Jersey, well into the 80s. So that's why maybe even close to 90 in some areas. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some overform. And if you look at clouds, well, it doesn't really shows a couple of breaks here and there. But you can see the breaks sort of opening up over Jersey. Now, the only question with clouds is visibility. Well, that's where the bad news comes in for us. We may be dealing with sucky drizzle again. I'm hoping this is wrong, because I really hope this is wrong. But it's showing fog and more of this crap again over us again tomorrow. I'm hoping this is wrong. I really hope it's wrong. But it's possible we may have to deal with yet another day of this garbage before finally it clears out of here. We may have to. Now, again, if you're inland, you'll deal with the heat over this. Honestly, I think I'd rather deal with the heat at this point. I don't want to deal with any more of this damn drizzle. So it's showing something. If we go to precipitation, it's showing the thunderstorms, obviously. Let's go to the windy.com. Let's see if the windy.com model is showing that visibility restriction or not. But unfortunately, when we see that kind of thing, it could be sucky drizzle in there. I'm hoping it's wrong. I really hope it's wrong. I do not want to deal with any more of that drizzle. I absolutely hate it. It's just complete garbage. Here's the visibility, and it's showing, again, that there could be some drizzle over us, perhaps. So we'll have to see. You have all this humid air moving over the cooler water and a warm front. So when you're on the other side of the warm front, where it still hasn't come through, you're dealing with this kind of crap. Let's see, fog. All right, it's not saying anything about fog here. But that visibility restriction kind of shows me that there could be some fog. There it is showing some fog over here now in the evening, perhaps. Ventus Sky. Does it have a fog setting too? It does. I think it does too, yeah. So it also has a fog setting. So let's look at this. And you can see showing mainly on the south shore. But don't be surprised if there's more of that annoying drizzle, mist, garbage around tomorrow, especially if you're on Long Island. If you're in Jersey, you don't have to worry about it. but it will be hotter, and there is a better chance of severe weather, which I'd rather have. I'd almost rather be in Jersey and deal with the heat than one more day of this crud. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.